It was a beautiful morning in the Flower Meadow. Sun rays pierced through the leaves of the trees, giving a magical glow to the morning mist. In a small burrow at the base of a large oak tree lived a rabbit named Lody. Lody had bright brown eyes and grey fur that looked silver in the sunlight. As he did every morning, Lody stretched and went out to enjoy the dew. The grass was fresh and damp under his paws as he happily hopped through the meadow. Lody stopped in a field of wildflowers whose petals still had dewdrops on them. He took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the pure air, and exhaled, feeling renewed and ready for a new day. He headed to the farthest part of the meadow, where he knew the crunchiest and juiciest carrots grew. With his keen senses, he sniffed the ground until he found a magnificent orange carrot. Using his teeth, he carefully unearthed it and held it up, satisfied. After cleaning the carrot, Lody went to a crystal-clear pond in the centre of the meadow. He washed his prize and sat on a large flat stone to enjoy his breakfast, watching the ducklings, listening to the birds, and soaking up the sunlight on his fur. It was a perfect morning. Before heading back home, Lody collected enough carrots, green leaves, seeds, and fruits to last him for a few days. With his cheeks full of provisions, he prepared to return, but a sudden rumble caught his attention. Storm clouds formed quickly and soon threatened rain. Without wasting any time, Lody ran back to his burrow, making it just in time to take shelter before the first drops fell. Settled in his straw bed, he began nibbling on a carrot, relieved to be safe, while the rain drummed on the burrow's roof, a melody that slowly lulled him to sleep. Lody woke up a few hours later, when the storm had already passed. He stretched and went out to smell the fresh air. The wet earth exuded a pleasant aroma, and a few drops still dripped from the leaves. Determined to enjoy the fresh sprouts the rain had brought, Lody returned to the meadow. The sun rays made the water droplets shine like tiny diamonds. Every now and then, a leaf would drop its moisture on him as he hopped along. His long ears picked up a muffled sound. It sounded like a sob. Following the sound, Lody found a young fox curled up behind some thorny bushes. "Hello," Lody said kindly. "Are you okay? You seem to be in distress." The fox lifted his head, surprised and a bit embarrassed. His eyes were teary, and he looked worn out. "Hi, little rabbit. I'm having a really tough day. My name is Rojo. I just got separated from my pack, and it's been hard to find food on my own. I haven't found anything today, and I'm hungry and lonely." "Oh, I'm sorry, Rojo. I'm Lody, and I know what it's like to be hungry. Don't worry, I'll help you. Wait here." Lody ran off to gather the freshest and most nutritious plants he could find for his new friend. He knew carrots were good, but he wanted something more substantial. He brought back blackberries, strawberries, nuts, and a sprout of alfalfa. When he returned, Rojo was still huddled, trembling. "Look, Rojo, I brought these to help you get your strength back. I know it's not much, but it's what I have right now." Lody made several trips until his pantry was empty, forming a pile of berries, roots, edible flowers, and nuts. Finally, satisfied with his effort, he sat down to rest, happy to see his new friend eating. Seeing the gratitude in Rojo's eyes filled Lody with joy. After eating, Rojo looked at Lody with gratitude and said, "Friend Lody, I have no words to thank you for this feast. You saved my life when I had nothing to offer in return. Besides food, you gave me kindness and company when I needed it most." Lody smiled warmly. "There's no need to thank me, Rojo. I saw you were in trouble and suffering. It was my moral duty to help." "I couldn't just ignore your situation," Lody said simply. "You are truly noble, but please, let me repay you somehow. Without all these delicacies, it will be hard for you to replenish your supplies. Tomorrow morning I'll come visit you with a gift. A surprise to show my eternal gratitude," Rojo promised solemnly. Lody blushed at the offer, his long ears folding back. "It's not necessary. I did it gladly. But if you insist, it will be a pleasure to have you visit tomorrow," he agreed shyly. The new friends talked happily until dusk about their lives, dreams, and future plans. When the sky began to turn golden, Rojo stood up. "It has been a true honor to meet you, Lody. Thanks to you, a new hope has ignited within me. But I don't want to impose on your hospitality any longer, so I must go." "Until tomorrow," he said cheerfully before disappearing among the trees. Lody slowly returned to his burrow, his heart light from having helped someone in need, but a bit worried about not having enough provisions now. He trusted that he would find enough to get through the night and, the next day, figure out how to replenish his supplies. Early the next morning, even before Lody had finished waking up, a noise at the entrance of his burrow startled him awake. As he poked his nose outside, he was surprised to see a majestic deer standing in front of the entrance. "Excuse me, Mr. Rabbit, are you Lody? My name is Veloz, and I came at Rojo's request to deliver this," announced the deer upon seeing Lody still drowsy. Behind the bushes, several small rodents appeared, carrying a huge sack that they placed at Lody's feet. Curious, he approached the sack, which was bigger than he was, and upon opening it, his eyes widened in surprise. It was filled with carrots, some of the largest he had ever seen. "Wow! Please convey my deepest gratitude to Rojo for this magnificent gift. This will last at least a few weeks," Lody exclaimed with sincere joy. "It was a pleasure and an honor to help the noble friend of our esteemed Rojo. Have a good day, little Lody," Veloz said before disappearing back into the forest, along with the other small animals. Lody was in awe. He never imagined that Rojo would be able to mobilize other forest animals to fulfill his promise. It was the most genuine demonstration of gratitude he had ever witnessed. With renewed energy, Lody hurried to store the valuable load in his underground pantry, where it would stay fresh for longer, leaving aside only one huge carrot for breakfast. Looking with satisfaction at the interior of his pantry, now filled, he thought to himself, "Rojo has a big heart. So do Veloz and all his friends. There is so much selfless kindness in this forest, and I also wish to contribute in any way I can." He chewed his crunchy carrot with his heart full of hope and renewed love for the animal community that shared his beloved home. The days passed peacefully and uneventfully for Lody after Rojo's generous and unexpected gift. The abundant carrots provided him with enough food for nearly 3 weeks. However, when only a few were left in the pantry, Lody decided it was time to go out again to replenish his supplies. One morning, he set out early, anticipating a productive day of gathering, enjoying the fresh dew and the tender green shoots that had grown overnight. But, as he hopped joyfully toward the fields, his large ears picked up a sound that made him stop, curious. A few meters away, hidden among the vegetation, was Rojo, walking in circles and talking to himself with growing frustration. Lody approached cautiously until he was close enough to hear him mutter, "I'm a complete failure. I'm too small and weak to hunt, and the other animals don't trust me enough to let me join their gathering teams. I'll starve at this rate. I can't find food on my own," lamented Rojo, feeling helpless. Feeling pity upon seeing his friend's distress, Lody stepped out of the bushes to make himself known. "Rojo, what a surprise to see you here. Are you having trouble finding food?" he asked, approaching sympathetically. Startled, Rojo turned quickly, hiding something behind his back, looking ashamed that Lody had heard his complaints. "Lody, hello, I didn't see you there. Yes, since we parted ways that day, I haven't had much luck. The other animals don't trust me because they think I might steal their food, so they keep me at a distance," he explained, looking downcast. "That's terrible. No one should go hungry like that. Let me think. I know. I don't have much, but the little I have left, I'll gladly share with you." "Come, follow me," Lody encouraged. Together they returned to the burrow, where Lody proudly showed Rojo his underground pantry. The fox couldn't believe that, after having been so generous in the past, the kind little rabbit was now willing to give him all his remaining precious carrots. "But Lody, this is all you have. I can't accept it. You've already done so much for me," Rojo objected, embarrassed. "Nonsense. You are my friend, and I won't let you go hungry. Tomorrow we will go out together to gather more provisions. It will be fun. For now, take this to regain your strength," insisted Lody. Faced with such generosity, Rojo had no choice but to accept the offer. With his chest swelling with gratitude, he solemnly promised to repay the gesture as soon as he had the opportunity. And so, once again, thanks to Lody's noble generosity, the little fox was able to fill his stomach and regain hope. The next morning, the two friends set out together on a successful gathering trip, which allowed them to create a good stockpile of food for both of them, strengthening the bonds of their budding friendship based on trust and mutual help. The sun shone brightly overhead, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers as Lody and Rojo ventured together into the meadow with their pantries already filled. They had an exceptional harvest, filling several sacks with carrots, nuts, seeds, and all kinds of wild fruits. They walked cheerfully, talking and laughing, until something caught Rojo's attention. "Look at that, Lody. It looks like some predator attacked this swallow's nest. The poor chicks didn't survive," remarked Rojo sadly. Lody sniffed around the area, and at the base of the tree from which the fragile nest had likely fallen. His whiskers detected a familiar scent. This was the work of Blad, the fearsome wolf from the Black Valley pack. Sometimes he prowls around here. Poor defenseless swallows. "We should be more careful if Blad is nearby," suggested Lody, concerned. Suddenly, a weak, mournful chirp caught both of their attention. Hidden under some dry branches, they found a small, fledgling swallow with a broken wing that had survived the fall. "Poor thing. We must help him. He won't last long alone and injured," said Rojo, gently picking up the frightened bird in his paws. Lody thought for a moment, and then had an idea. He knew Wise White Owl, whose cave in the northern forest might serve as a refuge. Together they could care for the chick until it recovered. Without wasting time, the friends changed direction toward the mysterious forest, chatting to distract the nervous little bird. Finally, after crossing a small stream and skirting some rocks, they arrived at the imposing entrance to Branca's cave. "Hello, Branca. Are you there?" called Lody cautiously. A slight rustling preceded the arrival of the majestic owl, white as snow. Behind her, peeking timidly, appeared her little owlet. Both looked curiously at the unusual trio at the entrance of their cave. Quickly, Lody explained what had happened and asked Branca for temporary shelter for the injured chick until it could fly again. She kindly agreed, instructing her owlet to prepare a comfortable nest of blankets and dry leaves. "Don't worry. We will take care of this poor defenseless creature until it recovers. Then we will see about returning it to its family. He was fortunate to find such kind friends," cooed Branca. Rojo and Lody said their relieved goodbyes, promising to return the next day to visit and bring more gifts to thank them for their noble gesture. Back in the meadow, Lody reflected, "Today I learned that, no matter how bad a situation seems, acting together with empathy and goodwill will always bring reasons for hope." Several moons had passed since Lody met Rojo and started a chain of favors, generosity, and new friendships with the forest inhabitants. During this time, the little swallow chick had fully recovered from its broken wing, thanks to Wise White Owl's caring attention. Finally, the time came to see him take flight again, returning to his own. On a sunny morning, all the friends gathered excitedly at the entrance of the cave to witness the long-awaited event. There were Branca and her owlet, Rojo, and of course Lody, who held the eager bird with infinite delicacy. "Your time to fly has come, Harry Kane. Be free, and may the winds always guide you," blessed Branca. With hearts overflowing with joy, Lody lifted his paws upwards, propelling Harry Kane into the open sky. Everyone held their breath, expectantly watching as those tiny wings beat strongly until he managed to sustain himself and began to circle above them. He had succeeded. Grateful, little Harry Kane descended to land one last time beside those who had saved him, before departing for his home. "My friends, I will never forget your loving care and this second chance. I owe you more than my life. I promise to come back every year to visit you," he committed with a sweet trill. Amid cheers and words of encouragement, everyone bid him farewell with hearts full of joy, watching him depart. Lody felt that a wonderful time was coming to an end. He decided to return alone to his burrow, to rest and reflect on the lessons of this transformative experience. Reclining peacefully amid the soft grass at the entrance of his home, Lody pondered how fortunate he was to dwell in that forest and to know such selfless friends. He remembered especially his first encounter with Rojo, sharing his meager food without hesitation to alleviate his suffering. That simple yet profound gesture of kindness had ignited a flame, spreading waves of generosity and compassion that ended up returning favor to Lody in the most unexpected ways. By giving without expecting anything in return, paradoxically, he had attracted all sorts of abundance and blessings into his life. Generosity always returned multiplied to the generous. That was the great lesson. Perhaps this was a humble way to make the world a better place for everyone. With this comforting thought, Lody closed his eyes and peacefully fell asleep, enjoying the gentle breeze and the birdsong. The future seemed increasingly bright and hopeful for him. The moral of this story is that what we plant now, we will reap later. Lody planted kindness and then reaped it. There are still many good people in this world. If each one does their kindness, the world would be better for coexistence. If you like this story, leave a like, and if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and leave your comment below. Until the next motivational story, God bless you.